Welcome along, fellow Dark Magician enthusiasts, to another video. Today's video, I decided to do a bit of a deck profile of the deck that I managed to reach King of Games with. Explain my thoughts on how I built the deck, and like tactics and that you can apply to your own deck building that might benefit you. So we'll get into it. I have been trying to record this video for days, but allergies and stuff have made this really annoying to record, but anyway, let's get into it. So, skill of choice, Battle Chronicle. With Battle Chronicle, I can normal summon Dark Magician without attributing. Any fusion, synchros, and main deck effect monsters. I am locked into summoning only light and dark spellcasters and light dragons, but we don't care about light dragons. And anytime I normal summon Dark Magician or fusion summon a level 7 or higher monster, I get to add Successor Soul or Quick Play spell that mentions Dark Magician from deck to hand, and then I have to mandatorily send a non-effect monster from my deck or extra deck to the graveyard that's got a different name compared to what I've already got on the field and in the graveyard. Alright, so that's a skill choice. So first we're going to start with 3 Apprentice Illusion Magician. Apprentice Illusion Magician is really good for getting an extra copy of Dark Magician into your hand, and also just getting an extra monster onto the field. It's a good searcher, and it's a good battle trap as well. Not only for beating over your opponent's monsters, but also for protecting, like protecting your monsters, increasing their defense as well. It only works for dark spellcasters, however. So, like if your opponent uses Zombie World and changes your monsters into like dark zombies, or you've got a light spellcaster on the field, or you've got some other kind of monster that's not a dark spellcaster, Apprentice will not work. But still, Apprentice is very good card. I go 3 copies with this one. I do recommend you can go like 2 copies if you want, but I found 3 is the best consistency for like getting it into your hand as much as possible. 1 Dark Magician Girl. Dark Magician Girl is only in here for the Dark Magician's effect when it's destroyed by battle or card effect. See, I can summon both Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl from a hand, deck, or graveyard. This is what Dark Magician Girl is in here for. If you don't particularly like risking a brick, which Dark Magician Girl pretty well is a brick, you can always just cut it out. But I do like playing Dark Magician Girl, so I keep it at 1. Don't need more than 1. 1's more than enough. The main man himself, Dark Magician, we have 3. You always want to run 3. You never want to run less than 3. Reason being, there is a trap. If you're not aware, Ice Dragon's Prison. They can, when the person activates a card, they can target a monster in your graveyard, special summon it to their field, and then if there's 2 monsters with the same type on the field, if I just bring up the card because I know I do have it. Yeah, so target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, but its effects are negated. Then, you can banish 1 monster from both players' fields that are the same type as each other. So, if you only have 2 Dark Magicians, right, and you've got 1 in your grave, 1 on your field, your opponent uses this, special summons the Dark Magician from your graveyard, and then banishes both Dark Magicians, you've already lost the game. You always want to have 3 more. It gives you more access to gives you the maximum access. You need to have Dark Magician on your hand at all times. You need to have as much access to it as possible, and you need to always have like a minimum 1 throughout the whole game. Anywhere, like it's got to be in the hand, in the deck, in the graveyard, on the field, anywhere. You got to have Dark Magician. You cannot cut down on Dark Magician. Always have 3. 1 Successor Soul. I've used 2 before. 2's not too bad for this build. For this build, however, 2 was not really working out. The only reason being is because I've only got 3 Dark Magicians. I don't have another normal monster. Like normally, if I'm using 2, I would run Blackluster Soldier as well, because I do have the normal monster version of Blackluster Soldier, so I can use Successor Soul pretty well with this. But because I'm only using 1 Successor Soul, the only monster I'm going to be summoning out is Dark Magician. So I only need 1. It can be searched by the skill easily. It's a good card, and it pairs well with Crackdown. Pairs really well with Crackdown. One secret to Dark Magic. We only need 1 secrets to get us started with our fusions, because then we will use other cards to fusion summon our other monsters later on. So you only need 1, you don't need more than 1. It's very searchable by the skill. 1's good. 2 Summoner's Art. I was experimenting with 3. The problem is with 3, like if you start the duel and you already have a Dark Magician in your starting hand, one Summoner's Art is not going to be usable anymore. The only thing you'd actually use it for is discard fodder. That's it. So it becomes like essentially a dead card, dead draw. And then the more Dark Magicians you draw into through other effects, the more dead cards you'll get. 2 Summoner's Art, although like it won't show up in your hand as often as like Apprentice Illusion Magician or Dark Magician itself would, or Dark Magical Circle, having to gives you like a sort of halfway consistency, sort of like it's probably not going to show up in your hand a lot, but you're going to have enough copies in there that your chances of drawing into it are still fairly high. And 2 works really well, because what I'm normally doing, I'm grabbing 2 copies of Dark Magician out of my deck with other cards, mainly, and like trying to leave 1 in the deck as much as possible. That way I can have 1 for discard fodder if I need, or if I've like drawn like 2 Summoner's Art, then I can just draw those 2, and then that's all my play starting from there. 2's really good. 3 Dark Magical Circle. It is your it's your main interruption. Circle's honestly not the best interruption, I will say, but I mean it's the best we've got. So I'm working with it as much as I can. It's always good at 3. You want to see this card in your hand as much as possible. Yeah, that's really to it. I mean, being able to look at the top 3, setting up the Dark Magician's next draw is really, really strong, really good. So I'd run 3. I have run 2 before, but using 2 has kind of left me desiring more, so I thought I'd bump it up to 3. 3 is good. Use 3. 1 Piercing the Darkness. I did run 2 before, and this was not a card I wanted to draw multiple copies of. I only wanted to have 1. If my opponent got rid of it, then we go for something else. Because compared to Bane of Darkness, with Bane of Darkness, you want to draw as much as possible, and you want to keep up your card advantage. With the Battle Chronicle build though, we're running multiple continuous stuff. So our strategy, we're not wanting to keep all the continuous stuff on our field. So if the opponent gets rid of Piercing the Darkness, that's fine. We can always move on to something else, because we've got other ways of dealing lethal damage. So, but still, I needed a way to get over the heavy, the really high monsters, without having to resort to trying to draw into Apprentice Illusion Magician. So Piercing the Darkness worked really well for me. It saved me a lot of times, actually. Yeah, just one I found is good. Wasn't wanting more than 1. I tried to, it just didn't work. Illusion Magic. There is only 1 you can obtain in the game, and it's actually really, really, really good. You can do some battle phase shenanigans with it, like what I've done a few times actually. I've normal summon Dark Magician, just kept it on the field, gone straight to battle phase, attacked with Dark Magician, used Illusion Magic to grab the Dark Magician I just tributed, and then a second one, and then use Secrets of Dark Magic to fusion summon, and then attack for lethal. It's very good at what it does. Plus, if you have all your Dark Magicians in your graveyard and you've got a Spellcaster monster in your field, you can tribute your Spellcaster and then grab your other copies of Dark Magician. Grab your copies of Dark Magician from the graveyard, add them to your hand, and you can keep going with your plays from there. It's really good. I do recommend running this card if you are going for the normal summon Dark Magician strategy, and no Magician's Rod, Magician Navigation, stuff like that. 3 Magicalized Fusion. Although we only have 2 monsters we want to fusion summon with Magicalized Fusion, we run 3, mainly because when I tried running 2, I have run into many situations where it's been in my hand, every other card I had in my hand I did not want to get rid of, and I had an Apprentice Illusion Magician, I needed to get Demon in my hand, so it was like, you know, I had to get rid of the Magicalized Fusion, and then that messed up a lot of plays from there. Like, it's happened way too many times. 3 is always good, so that way you've got an extra 1 to discard, and you keep 2 for the fusion summons. Good card for making the extra deck monsters, fusions. I do like running 3, it's very consistent. Shows up in your hand a lot, and it's much easier to draw into as well. Good card. 2 Crackdown. Now, you might be thinking, wait, you're running Circle, you're running Piercing Darkness, and Eternal Soul. Why run Crackdown? Well, the thing is, when you're going first, if you don't happen to draw into, like, any starters, and you happen to draw, like, 1 or both your Crackdowns, you can just set them on the field, try and pass turn, and then when your opponent tries to make the plays, you can just use Crackdown, steal their monsters, and then you can eventually, later on, next turn, make Nightmare Phoenix. There's 2 Crackdowns, 2 different monsters, you've got easy link material there. Plus, Crackdown is very, very strong in the metagame currently. Like, you can steal specific monsters and leave your opponent with monsters that they can't afford to keep on their field. Like with Star Seraph, for example, if I pull up, because I do have the Star Seraph cards myself. Star Seraph Sovereignty, like that. This is an example. Cannot be used as an Xyz material for an Xyz summon, except for an Xyz summon that uses 3 or more monsters as Xyz materials. So, like, if your opponent's playing Star Seraph, they've used both effects of the skill in that turn, and you crack down their monsters, and you leave Sovereignty on their field. They can't do anything if they can't fill their field with other monsters. Like, they just can't do anything. Like, they're forced to sit there and end their turn. So Crackdown's very, very good. Limited 3 trap. So I mean, you look, I have run 3 Crackdowns before, which is really good. In this build though, I didn't want to go too high in card number because, like, I'm already at 22 cards. So I thought, like, 1's not really enough. 2 is good, that you can try and draw into it consistently. 3 would just be a bit too much. It would be pushing the deck to 23 cards, and I wanted to maintain the overall deck consistency as much as possible, so we keep it to 2. 1 Eternal Soul. Yes, this is a prismatic Eternal Soul. I got this with a prismatic dream ticket. Bless Konami, thank you. We don't need more than 1, or I don't need more than 1 really. I try not to hold on to Eternal Soul too much. Like, I use it as an alternative. So, like, Piercing Darkness is an alternative game plan. Eternal Soul is an alternative game plan. If my opponents want to get rid of Eternal Soul and Piercing Darkness, so be it. They can get rid of it. Sometimes flipping up Eternal Soul when it's about to leave the field, like before it's about to leave the field, is actually beneficial with getting a couple of effects off, like the Dark Magicians or even the Great Double-Casted Caster. Sometimes it helps, like getting extra monsters onto the field to protect yourself even more instead of leaving yourself with nothing. And also, like, against some decks where, like, they can just hit you for lethal into your attack position monsters. Sometimes blowing up your own monsters, getting extra bodies into defense can just leave you, like, your opponent having to pretty much waste their time ending their turn without finishing the duel, and then you get to make your comeback through additional plays. So Eternal Soul, just 1. I found it to be useful at 1. I've drawn into it when I needed it. Haven't drawn into it when I don't need it. So it's been good. It's been really good. For the extra deck, we have Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon as a send, mainly for the Great Double-Casted Caster. We also have Flame Swordsman as well as another effect, as another skill send for Dark Calvary. just the warrior of choice. You can use any warrior monster if you want, really. It doesn't matter which one. I just pick Flame Swordsman because, you know, Flame Swordsman. The Dark Magicians. The first monster we are always going to fusion summon. You are always going to fusion summon this. That way you can get your draws up. You can keep drawing into cards. And that way, if this monster blows up, like if your opponent uses like Dark Hole, for example, blows it up, you've got a way to bounce back and keep yourself alive. Dark Calvary, really good monster. There's so many cards in Duel Links that target, and Dark Calvary like forces your opponent to play around this as much as possible. It's good. Without Dark Calvary, a lot of duels would have been unwinnable, and there are some duels where it's like you just set up Dark Calvary and your opponent is forced to use every other card they've got to get rid of this monster before they can start using cards at target. And sometimes some opponents do waste a lot of their resources trying to out Dark Calvary, which you can just keep discarding and just keep destroying their stuff. It's good. The Great Double Casted Caster is your best means of getting over any monsters that you do not want to touch, like the Bell monsters, for example, Elemental Hero Neo's Kluger, monsters like those, or even like big towers you can't touch, like you can't really attack into, like you don't have enough attack points to attack into. You can just use the Great Double Casted Caster and just attack directly, as long as your opponent does not have an effect veiler or like negates caster's effects, then you can pretty much just win instantly just by using Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and Dark Magician as fusion material using Magicalized Fusion. Easy wins. And it also has a floating effect where if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target a non-effective monster that's banished or in your graveyard and special summon it. So if your opponent happens to banish Dark Magician, like one of your Dark Magicians or multiple copies, and you've got Caster, if it blows up, you can bring your Dark Magician back and restart play. So it's good recovery. It's a good recovery card as well. One Big Eye. Now, Big Eye is very, very good. I've used Big Eye a fair amount of times, and it's won me a number of duels. Being able to permanently take control of an opponent's monster, that alone is super strong. And it's also good in events where like you're trying to out an opponent's monster, and like you gotta target it. Like you can use Big Eye to bait or like pretty much force your opponent to use whatever effects they've got to get rid of Big Eye, and then you can do other plays from there. Like one combo I almost had but messed up because it was a misplay. They negated Big Eye's effects, but what I could have done was just use Big Eye's effect, detach a Dark Magician, target any monster, and then use Illusion Magic to tribute Big Eye and grab Dark Magician back from my graveyard and keep my plays going. So even though Big Eye will like take two of your Dark Magicians, if you can just detach one of them, your plays keep going from there. But your Big Eye itself is really good. Yeah, won me a fair amount of deals. I like it. I love Big Eye. And mine's a glossy one too. It's a very, very nice card. Do not underestimate Big Eye. Big Eye's good. Nightmare Phoenix pairs well with Crackdown. And good just general spell trap removal that the opponent has. Like really any face down or any field spell stuff like that. If Nightmare Phoenix is just good in general, mainly for clearing your board, like getting rid of stuff. You can even use Nightmare Phoenix as Successor Soul tribute material. That way, like you can clear your extra monster zone, and then save it for any other fusions you've got. Imduck, the World Chalice Dragon. We have one. This is a Successor Soul play mainly. You use the skill to grab Successor Soul, then you switch your toggle to on, normal summon, Link summon Imduck, the World Chalice Dragon, and then you immediately use Successor Soul to tribute Imduck, and target an opponent's monster. That way, they can't do anything to. That way, they can't really, try and attempt to steal Imduck, or like they can't attempt to use their own effects. Like against the Blue Eyes player, this is really powerful. Like you could just link summon and then immediately use Successor Soul to stop them from. Sorry about that. Don't know what was that. Yeah, immediately use Successor Soul. Ugh, what am I saying? You immediately use Successor Soul, so they can't use their own Successor Soul. Yeah, it's very good. So as you can see, this deck is quite tight. I mean, especially the extra deck as well. It's really tight. Every monster serves its purpose. Like, Ultimate Dragon is for caster, Flame Swordsman is for Calvary, the Dark Magicians is the main monster you're always fusion summoning, Big Eye is there to steal any towers and bait any effects, Phoenix is there for Crackdown, and Imduct is there for Successor Soul. So every card essentially serves its own purpose, and it's all flowing together. So like, you got Dark Magician God, like, always stays in your deck until the Dark Magicians blows up and then comes out, milling the deck. You got your Magicalized Fusions, which can make Dark Calvary, double caster caster. Piercing Dark is really good for beating over the towers and drawing a card whenever you use Eternal Soul to summon Dark Magician, Apprentice Illusion Magician, during damage calculation just to boost Dark Magician, or even like the Dark Magicians, Dark Calvary, or even Big Eye, boost their attack and defense up and deal massive damage. And you got your Summoner's Art, which essentially serves as your Magician's Rod for this deck, where you just grab Dark Magician, and it even works well when you got the Dark Magician on the field. You can just use Summoner's Art, grab Dark Magician, and you can use Dark Magician's trigger effect to draw a card. Every card in this deck serves its purpose, and it works really well, I will say, in my experience. So if you do like this deck list, you can, like, feel free to copy it, feel free to use it, or you can even change it up a little bit. I totally don't mind. I'm curious to see what you guys have got, what you guys are hitting King Games with. If you do have any ideas or things or questions you'd like to ask, things you'd like to suggest, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm happy to reply, have a look, and yeah, all that kind of stuff. From here, I really don't think there is anything else I can do with Battle Chronicle aside from trying to optimize a traditional Dark Magician deck with Battle Chronicle. Though I will say, in my opinion, it's not the strongest against a lot of the meta. I might try Bane of Darkness again. I've got maybe 1 or 2 ideas for it, but realistically, until we get new cards that we can experiment with, this is probably the best Dark Magician is going to be right now. Like, we literally just got to wait for the new cards, new support. Yeah, that's really about it. Thank you very much for watching this deck profile. I'll see you all in the next video.